The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation or Stewart Title. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
And welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick, hosting the show. We go forth every week where we inspire, entertain, and even inform. So whether you're listening right here in Houston, Texas, the fourth largest city where we broadcast the show from every week, or you may be in Denver, Colorado, Los Angeles, or anywhere else, we think you're going to enjoy the show. And today we have a very special guest, Stewart Title. He is the CEO of our company. We are an international company, certainly right here in Houston, Texas, traded on the New York Stock Exchange. His name is Matt Morris. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Very glad to be here.
It's exciting, and people know certainly all over about Stewart Title, but let's tell them as the CEO of our company, tell them from your perspective about our company.
Absolutely. Well, and first off, thank you for having me. I know you have great guests along the way on the show, and I appreciate what you do, the opportunity for Stewart to be involved in real estate overall and informing the public. So it's, again, great to be a part whenever I can and to join the great list of attendees you have on the show on a weekly basis. So quickly for Stewart, for those that don't know, this is a company which has been around for 125 years. So started in Galveston, integral to the real estate process, transacted the first title policy back in, the late 1800s. And we're glad to be a part really of the fabric of real estate, not only here in our headquarters of Houston, but really around the globe. So as you know, we have a great mix of offices, several hundred offices around the country. We have our operations in Canada, which is a significant market for us. And we also have a couple thousand independent agents that write on Stewart paper. And we just feel fortunate to be involved in a great industry and enabling real estate transactions. And it's a fun, unique, and often misunderstood, but great business to be a part of.
And when you say misunderstood, as far as title insurance, all people have to do is simply go to stewart.com. And our website has so many resources and answers a lot of questions about the company and about title insurance and even regular insurance in general. But when you say, and we know 125 years, that is such a long time and such a great heritage, starting right in Galveston, and that serves our people that buy and sell real estate. It gives them that sense of stability because we're going to be around for some time to come.
Absolutely. Well, when people transact real estate and especially buy that first home, it is a meaningful transaction and a large financial risk, and they want to deal with someone that is trusted and that has done this before and can walk through the process. And, as we talked about, people don't necessarily know what we do until they're involved in a real estate transaction. But we really are the hub, dealing with buyers and sellers and lenders and attorneys and everyone involved in the transaction. And so it gives us visibility into really an exciting time in people's lives.
And as we're right here at the beginning of the year, and from your perspective, Matt, how are you seeing the things evolve? Any kind of emerging trends that are happening right now, and that we have our eye on the lookout for?
Real estate's often dynamic and often relies a lot on just consumer sentiment of what's going on right now. So on a couple things related to the industry, but I think just starting off, happy to talk about just broader, economic issues we're seeing. Obviously here in Houston, I think with $60 oil now, it's continuing to progress. We're continuing to see growth in this market, and I think it's going to be a healthy year for Houston overall. Here in Houston, and I think across the country, I'd say that the number one factor that is maybe affecting real estate is low supply. And we're seeing home builders come back into the market. We're seeing some first-time homes, coming back in. But, regardless of where I travel, I've been in a few cities in the last 7 days, and this dominant theme of their lack of supply. And so I think a lot of it is catching up, but a lot of it is strong consumer sentiment right now. And, whether it's, tax reform or whether it's job appreciation and increases, there seems to be a growing confidence in, where our economy's headed and the jobs that are out there and job creation opportunities. And so that creates need for housing and creates stability for people to jump into home ownership. And so I think we're encouraged by the year, encouraging and working with those home builders to keep inventory up to meet the supply or to meet the demand that currently is in the markets.
It is very encouraging and very exciting. Certainly right here in Houston, there is no question people are still moving into our city in seems like record numbers as judging by the traffic and certainly other statistics. But as we talk about Texas, let's hit a couple other star cities, if you will. Reading about Dallas and the Fort Worth area. Give us your perspective on, say, Dallas, and even let's talk a little bit about Austin. These are superstar cities, I believe, right in our own state.
Right. No, they definitely are. And, growing up in Houston, this is home. And, we often don't give Dallas the kudos maybe that they deserve. And maybe not making the Amazon list of the top 20 was a little bit of a of an ego hit for those of us in Houston. But obviously, we've got, the Texas economy is strong. I've been in, San Antonio and Austin in the last week and just seeing, Austin is incredible looking at the skyline and the amount of activity, the amount of people moving in town. Obviously, Austin's lacking some infrastructure, and you talk about traffic, and Austin is not the place you want to be to avoid traffic. But it is forcing, a changing dynamic and people, living in town, kind of the live, work, and play that's keeping people off the roads and changing dynamics there. But, dynamic city, obviously. And Dallas continues to have, strong job growth going forward. The number of, manufacturing other facilities that are entering the Dallas market is strong. And we talk a lot about, residential, housing, and that's the dominant piece of our business. But commercial overall, I talk about consumer sentiment. But really, the commercial business was a great transactions at the end of last year and going into 18. Just see increasing optimism really around the state that a lot of activity is coming on. Job growth is still occurring. People are still moving to Texas. It's a driving market, and people enjoy being here.
They really do. And there's no question, as we think about, and it could be a study, and I'm sure there have been studies done, but it could even be the subject of a show, the things that trigger a real estate transaction. And as we talk about traffic, I think there are many things that trigger the transaction. However, even the fact that the traffic is getting worse, let's say, or more thick here in Houston and even in Austin, those are things that trigger a person to say, you know what, I'm not going to live out in the suburb. I'm going to go and live in the city in Austin. I'm going to get closer to uptown Houston. Those are just one of the few things I think that trigger that transaction. As you say, you've said the word several times, dynamic just describes real estate then and now and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. We see it's interesting trends, and you look at age demographic. No study has ever come out that says people have less demand for home ownership, right? There was a concern for a time of millennials are not going to want to, own a home, and it's really not the case. It seems to be deferred later in life, and they seem to want to live in different areas. But no, last year was the first year that millennial home buyers were the dominant demographic for buying homes. And, what we've seen with just, the overall economy, you have seen some of the student debt and other issues are deferring that decision. But again, it's meaningful. It's still the American dream for people to own a home. And to your point, they may want to, own something a little smaller that's a little closer to where they live because the lifestyle matters a great deal to the current home buyer. So those things shift and desires shift. And a lot on the commercial side, you're hearing conversations of parking and what happens with self-driving cars and Uber and, what the future really looks like. More people being able to work from home. These are all dynamics that really change real estate and probably have dramatic effect if you look, in kind of 10-year cycles into the future.
And as we look ahead, we're talking about the future. However, when we think, as we're here still in the very first part of 2018, as we look back at 2017, from your perspective, let's say in the Houston area or even Texas, was there anything that we learned that was something new that will affect time and going beyond from there? But what did we learn in 2017 that's going to serve us in this year?
Well, I don't know if it's learned. I think there's always learned, but I know, Harvey is probably, in the minds of many people as it relates to real estate and how Houston in this area thinks about flooding and flood control and, houses that have been affected by flooding. And I think probably while it's obviously a minority of the population, that these are areas of town that are not forgotten. And I think we have a lot to learn in terms of long-term investment, making sure we have the funding and resources to provide those places, to live as a city continues to grow and expand. So I think for our city and probably for a lot that have looked at kind of the Gulf Coast area, as we think about, building and home building and even, other commercial construction, really starting to understand whether natural disasters start to affect where people live and, how that moves forward. So I think from a planning perspective, Houston, I think, learned a lot in the last year, and we learned it the hard way. But I think there's strong endeavors to develop plans that have long-term thinking and continuing to develop an infrastructure for this city to grow.
And as we look outside of the state of Texas, what are some of the things, what are some of the other hot markets, if you will, that are out there in other places in the country?
Yeah, I think you still see, people, moving to the coast and moving to dynamic cities. The technology, regardless of what industry you used to be in, seemingly you're now in the technology industry. People flocking to destination centers that have more of a high-tech vibe. I think it's why Austin continues to grow and expand here in the Texas market. But you're also seeing other cities that are maybe historically haven't been a tier 1 city, but Nashville, Tennessee, even Las Vegas, Nevada, that are starting to move and attract capital and attract a younger workforce that is IT savvy, that's looking to grow and expand. You look at a lot of the companies doing with space, and I won't necessarily say exploration, but with satellites and more information, in historically maybe less tech markets, but you're starting to see people in large major metros continue to grow.
And what about places in the Northeast? Let's say certainly New York City, I think is its own market and probably always has been. But from New York City and then even that northeastern area, what kind of things are going on up there? Is it thriving, or what's it like right now?
No, I think it is thriving, and I think probably some of the tech components of what we're seeing, that there's definitely kind of your barbell of what's driving activity, and the West Coast is definitely probably still dominating a lot of that conversation. But again, places like Boston, you're seeing, a lot of conversations around tech. You look at that, Amazon list of their top 20, and there's definitely markets, that are, in the Eastern Corridor. Yeah, they have longer history, so it's a little harder to make, I think, some of those adaptations, especially from an infrastructure and real estate play. Continuing, dynamics that are leading to job growth and manufacturing. Places like Detroit and others that were somewhat lost are continuing to grow and expand and reinvent themselves for what the future looks like.
And actually, when I'm thinking about New York City, it wasn't all that long ago that you were in New York City at the New York Stock Exchange along with some of our other associates, and that must have been very exciting. Give us a word on that. I mean, we heard about the stock exchange. We see the pictures of CEOs and other people at the exchange ringing the bell, but give us a word on that experience, if you would, Matt.
No, it's always enjoyable to go to the exchange, and I've been several times, and I end up in New York probably every couple months. But going to the floor is a unique experience, and having the opportunity to ring the bell of the exchange is definitely something on the bucket list that was just great to see. That the exchange, given the amount of technology that we have in our system, has changed a lot since I think the early days and paper flying around. And now you see a lot of reporters and people of what's driving the market. Fun to see. They've redone the actual platform where you do ring the bell. The bell is actually a buzzer now, so you don't necessarily ring. But it's a great experience, and honored to be a part, and honored to have participated with Stewart overall, a company that my family's been associated with for many generations now, and just feel honored to be able to carry on part of that legacy and represent the incredible associates that we have around the country that make real estate work.
And when we talk about our associates, I'm remembering the message that you sent out at the beginning of the year, and you focused a lot on growth, and you also talked about the importance of the relationship within the company, but also the relationship that's so important with our customers out there, and even exceeding expectations once again with them. So the charge is set forth to elevate that customer experience.
Absolutely. When we talk about title insurance, and this is the unknown, right? But you could potentially from the outside see an insurance as a product. And we are in the relationship business, and we are in the service business. And the best way to explain title insurance is that we conduct real estate transactions, and we assure that everything was done correctly, right? It's an insurance wrapper around a service experience. And so our ability to grow and drive our value in the real estate transaction is really being the center of a hub in a complex transaction, usually with complex financials and requirements.
There's a lot of details.
There's a lot of details. There's a lot of details, and our ability is to make the complex simple and provide a service experience. Right, and trust matters. We talked about that the 125 years and needing to provide comfort and trust in a complex situation. And so for us, we're in the service business, right? We want to make real estate easy, and we think about that from a technology perspective. We think about that from how we interact with our customers, with home buyers and home sellers, right? Of we're going to be that trusted third party. To make sure that this most important investment that you probably have or will make is safe and secure and was a positive experience for you. As most business, it's a team, right? And the customer, for the most part, usually deals with one escrow officer or closer, and that's the face that they see, right? That's the face of Stewart and representing Stewart. But obviously behind that person, there is a tremendous team that makes things, move smoothly. And that's, everything from, the person, researching, documents to the person paying off the loans to, the people that are supporting from a marketing or from a, HR perspective or procurement or lease management, all these functions that make the thing work. Right, but we routinely talk about this idea that regardless of your position within this company, we have 6,500 associates that are around the country right now, and we say even if you don't see the customer, right, you need to do your job so that next person in the process, right, has a good experience, because that carries on to the the end consumer. And how that person is that's interacting with the customer, the support they receive, right? Whether their attitude is great and they had a good experience, either with their, accounting or their IT professional, right, is going to, relate to what experience they give their customer. So we need to make sure that all the team understands that everybody you're providing service to, and whether that's internal or external, matters, right? And it matters that they have a great experience, because they're going to in turn give a service experience to somebody else that is within that value chain of what we do. And so it's important for this team to understand the full value chain of the transaction, how they fit into that, and how ultimately they are enhancing that real estate experience for our customers.
It is so important, and it probably starts with finding the right people, as we do right from the beginning.
Absolutely. It's all about people, right? And we do have a great team and feel honored every day to work with great people. And obviously here in Houston, this being our corporate headquarters, we've recently brought on a new, chief financial officer. Our former finance officer just retired recently, and David Heisey came on board, a great new member to the team. We brought on a new head of corporate development that is driving a lot of the growth, and you mentioned that in the message I made earlier in the year, but we've done a lot of restructuring when we talk about new technology and things that we're doing behind the scenes, but we really have a platform that we're really excited about now to continue to take to the market. And so we have some aggressive growth plans going forward, and growth, not only because I, firmly believe if you're, you got to keep growing. If you're not growing and capturing share, you're losing, right? But we really think we have something to offer, right? When you look at the customer surveys that we do, real estate needs to be a great experience for people, and we think we provide a differentiated experience, and we think that should be offered to more people. So in our growth, it really is with that customer in mind of, hey, we have something really positive here, and let's let more people see it. Let's show them what we got.
And we are talking with the CEO of Stewart Title. He is Matt Morris. We're going to take a short break and come right back with even more. Stay with us.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Today we have Matt Morris, the CEO of Stewart Title, and we're continuing our conversation. Matt, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
There's so much to talk about. And this show, this is, I believe, Mark's show number 209. So for 209 Saturdays, here we are. Certainly on we have a web presence, but we're broadcast all these many times. And every time we've been brought to the public and this platform by Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Mm-hmm. Now, people know Stewart Title, of course, for all these many years. But still, some people don't know that we're in the insurance business, as in home, auto, broker E&O, commercial insurance, not just in Houston and the state of Texas, but in the United States.
Right.
Let's tell people a little bit about the initiative, just a brief word on the history, how we got into that insurance, and what's going on with Stewart Insurance and Risk Management from your view.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an exciting company. Those guys are always just super excited and thinking of new things all the time.
It is, and I think it just aligns really well. You know, we got into this business, seeing, again, in our pursuit of, making that real estate transaction easy. We often saw people were having trouble obtaining, homeowners insurance, which was required for the transaction, obviously required by lenders to conduct a transaction. And so, our initial thought was, hey, how do we, add value to this process, and how do we make sure things don't fall through the cracks? And we said, what if we start offering them insurance, right? And because it's another complicated process, and they need it in the transaction. It's somewhat time constrained, depending on the buyers and sellers and lenders. And so that was really the notion of why we got into the business, was, again, to help that consumer at the end of the day have a great transaction experience. And this group, I know Tom Carpentier has, been on the show and delivers for this team. But, at Stewart, we talk about really our vision of being the most admired real estate services company. And Tom and this group really embody this, and I think have expanded beyond even, the initial view, because they understand, like we do, the importance and value of that customer experience. They, represent a couple dozen underwriters and are able to shop around and provide the best value for consumers in different states. So we've talked about whether it's Harvey or Irma, they're doing stuff in Florida, and making sure that people have the most effective policy. And that really is our endeavor, at the end of the day, is to provide great experiences for people, and largely people coming into a new home or in a new town and don't have those relationships established. And also you find, need support with their auto insurance and other types of insurance, and even corporate insurance for large buildings we get involved in. But that's usually, that touch point is somewhat relating to this transition that someone is going through. But that service, obviously, people keep coming back because they've been able to both, save people money and, provide great service along the way. So we've been very happy that we, set out to solve a problem. We're able to solve that and expand that value and expand, what we feel is a great, company service-oriented, customer-centric culture to provide more services to, the consumer.
And it's so easy for people to just check, get a quote from Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Simply go to stewart.com. Very easy. And one of the things that Tom talks about these days a lot is having the proper insurance. Because a lot of us just think, oh, I've got my car, I've got my auto insurance. But until something happens, some of us don't really realize if we have the right coverage. So one of the things we're striving, Tom and I, and to get that word out is for people to not just have insurance, but make sure you have the right amount, the right kind, and that you have your bases covered.
Right. It's another business that being an advisor, matters. And, as much as we talk about, the widget or something people have to have, we really do want to counsel people and making sure they have what they need. And again, not to, kind of keep bringing up Harvey, but I think obviously that brought a lot to light of people thought they had coverage or, thought they were covered for things ultimately that they may not have been covered for. And so I think, again, it's a service business, and much like, title and having that relationship matters, and having that trust matters.
Well, let's tell people now, as far as that, we talk about the real estate transaction. Again, that word dynamic, we can't escape it. It is ever changing. But let's tell people now, as we're here in 2018, from your perspective, how that transaction is changing and what we're doing at Stewart Title.
Absolutely. We live in a great country and great opportunities, and I don't think people realize the value that's created here with real estate and our mortgage lending market, and the ability for people not to have all of their capital tied up in homes, but the ability to use capital to invest in businesses or send kids to college and really use their real estate as a true asset is relatively unique to the U.S. But it's still a complicated transaction. And I actually was
there's still a lot of fine print all over.
There's a lot of fine print, and I was at a conference actually. It was a week-long conference that I was just able to attend for a day last week in New York when I was there for some other activities. But this is a group that's based out of California that really is all about innovation. And they have innovators, tech showcase. They had a Hackers Connect, and people really trying to look of, hey, how do we, disrupt the real estate transaction in a good way, to make it easier and to make the complex simple. And, to be honest, there's some, great ideas from people that'll go nowhere because they really didn't know what they were doing. And there's some other exciting ideas about how to simplify the process. As we, look at, kind of trends moving forward, we are seeing, electronic signatures that are becoming more allowed in states and a lot of legislation. I think there's 16 states that have legislation that is to be enacted this coming year about recording documents electronically, which greatly supports our business, but it also helps transactions, run more smoothly. It eliminates the need for as much paper, in the transaction. Online signing. There's been some local, notary laws, and so we've been able at Stewart to actually do some transactions with people that could not, come to the closing table with an online notary. This is just allowed in a couple states right now. But again, just last week there was a spouse that happened to be in South Africa, and they needed to close the transaction. Really impossible. This was in Washington State. Washington State just last year enacted a mobile notary law, and so we had a mobile online, not mobile, but a online notary, actually in a online closing room that was able to conduct the transaction on time and file the documents and move forward. So making it easier, making it more convenient for people. We're seeing changes in laws, we're seeing changes in technology, and we're seeing really the industry come together, and that's, realtors, title companies, mortgage companies to say, hey, what does a digital mortgage look like, right? What does a digital real estate transaction look like? And those are things that we, constantly embark on. How do we integrate with, again, don't want to get into the nitty gritty of our world, but with mortgage origination systems so that we don't, can just make it quicker to exchange information and to get payoffs done, and to avoid, cybersecurity is a big issue in the industry right now, big issue for everybody right now when you look at the risk of, electronic visibility and people, and assuring people are who they say they are. And so there's a lot of technology going after the ability to eliminate and reduce fraud in transactions, and again assure that it's a successful home buying experience for everyone.
Indeed, I always say, I think about, we talked about it way earlier, and that is the stability. 125 years we're in the marketplace. And oh yeah, security protocols we have in place, right down to the high tech, as well as I mention it all the time, even our clean desk policy. That is just common sense to make sure that important documents aren't there for someone to see that shouldn't see them. And one of the other things I think about and talk about is the financial strength. A lot of people don't think when they look to a title company if they're picking a company with the financial strength. And we are financially strong, not because we say we are, but certainly we are rated by the independent third-party companies like AM Best and Demotech. And I think that's a thing people should think about as well as they're out there. That doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah. No, as we say, you always want people, to care, and that's really the customer, the transaction we're going after, and we want people to care not only about the experience they will receive, but the company that's standing behind the policy that they have. Unfortunately, there are claims. Unfortunately, there is still fraud and forgery and things that go on. There are missed filings at the courthouse, and things do come up, and it's rare, and we try to do everything we can to avoid those, but claims do rise up, and we have $550+ million standing behind those policies that are out there right now to assure people can stay in their home, and we cover all the problems related to making sure that takes place.
Matt, you're leading an organization of over 6,000 people. And from a leadership standpoint, that is not an easy task. But let's tell people some of the things that you do in case they may be leading a large group as well, or maybe a small company. What are some of the things that are core principles that have helped you be a strong leader with a company like Stewart Title?
Yeah, and I don't know if there is one magic bullet and we all try with what we have, but I think in our business, integrity and trust in my mind is job number one. We live in a trying world with a lot of dissension, and I think we have to provide stability and leadership and trust in the process, and an acknowledgement of the people that that work in our organizations. Again, in a relationship service-based business, it's all about the people that rely on this company to provide some stability for them and opportunity for them to grow in their career and moving forward. So I really view myself as while I say we am responsible ultimately for those 6,500. I work for all of them, right? That's my daily job, is to serve those and make sure that they have the tools and resources they need to serve our customers. And that's my job on a daily basis.
In fact, going back to your New Year's message to the associates, me being one of them, and I'm going to quote you, it was one of the things you said, and you said, "I am committed to listening to you and your ideas and look forward to visiting with many of you." I remember that, and that's so important to have a CEO tell people that work in the company that you have that open doors, if you will.
I think leaders quickly realize, and maybe this is just me, but I do not have all the answers, right? I've been given great opportunity, but my ability, and I think our company's ability to continue to achieve the success it has is leveraging and understanding the knowledge base of those people that are interacting with our customers on a daily basis for what needs to be improved. How can we make things simpler? What do we need to do from a financial strength? And so it's my opportunity to again know and understand what the needs are and what the opportunities are. Continue to provide a great place to work and to make real estate a great opportunity for people in the markets that we serve.
As far as having a great place to work, I've said this with Roseann Rogers, you indeed do that. We run to the office every day, so we're super excited. And I'm probably speaking for all 6,000 of our associates. Having said that, as far as I've asked you last time you were on the show, the question that all of us at any level, any job, I think, deal with, and that's the work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
We all have 24 hours a day. We have to stay physically fit. We have to perform in our careers and profession. How do you manage the work-life balance in your world?
Well, I'd like to sit here and say that I've figured it out. I would say, work-life balance. One thing I have learned is I've tried to get away from the 24-hour work-life balance and look at life. There's times, in life which require the 80-hour work weeks, and there's other times in life where you don't. And so I think it's just changes of focus and realizing the responsibilities that you have and being able to prioritize. So in my mind, work-life balance is really prioritizing the things that need to get done, and recognizing and valuing the people that are around me. So, I have a gracious wife and 4 sons that are still at home, and there's always something to do and keeping busy. And I think everything I do is with a team, and whether that's a family, whether that's with the executive team at the office, we all pull together and we do what needs to get done. So yeah, that being said, on the personal side, I do keep a pretty rigid schedule, and pretty disciplined about the workouts and what you eat, and when you how to try to keep things in perspective on a daily basis. And so I think it's a lot of understanding your purpose, praying about it, and being intentional on how you spend that time, and hoping when you lay your head down at the end of the day that you did what you intended to do, and God was glorified in the process.
Another thing that struck me, I wanted to ask you, and that is, every now and then we all strive, every transaction, every contact we make with an individual, the relationships are so important, but every once in a while in our jobs, and certainly within our company, but everybody has certain times where they're doing something that has a little extra pressure. And in the world of the real estate, and as a CEO, certainly perhaps there are some situations that require that they're higher stakes, so we really have to focus. But what are some of the things that you might tell someone that, as far as dealing with something that's extra special or has a real high stake to it, how do you stay calm, or how do you prepare to get those bigger tasks done, or their more challenging tasks done?
Yeah. No, I think perseverance comes into play, right? It's never give up. And I think that is, is key in a lot of what we do in life. I mean, not only in real estate transactions, but at the end of the day, going above and beyond is important, right? And it's fun at the end of the day to solve problems that haven't been solved before. It's enjoyable to tackle things that are difficult, and being able to achieve those. I think perseverance, and then just peace at the end of the day that it'll all work out. Things obviously don't always play out exactly how we like them, but that's where I think understanding purpose, understanding longer term perspective keeps us grounded, and helps in our ability to manage the day to day, knowing at the end of the day that things seem to work out if we persevere, if we give it our best, and we really seek to serve others in the process.
And of course, we're right here. Our corporate office is in Houston, Texas. I'm a big fan of our food here. We have some of the greatest restaurants. So as we wind down, Matt, let's talk a little bit about food. Give us an idea of some of the favorite dinners you've had here recently, or anything about food.
Well, there are, we are, the blessing and curse of Houston is we are not lacking options. And unless you have a good restaurant, you're probably not going to last long here. And so it's hard to go wrong. I did on Saturday night, I ate at Mastro's for the first time, which is
been wanting to go there. It's on my list.
New restaurant, new steakhouse, and Matt Eisman, who does American Ninja Warrior, was able to have dinner with him and another some group of couples. And here's what I enjoy about Houston, right? It's a great place and great meal, and there was a lot going on there, but. Also, talking with Matt, and just, back to our earlier conversation, right? Perseverance and doing the right thing. Matt Eisman was actually, a Princeton grad, went to med school, was in his residency, and decided he was going to be a stand-up comic. And,
wow.
That led into, world in LA and everything, but he's been able to have great interactions with the people that have participated on American Ninja Warrior, and people that have overcome huge obstacles. Again, it's all about the people, and so I think regardless of restaurant, find somebody good to eat with. Houston's a great city with people that I think care about each other, and there's great people here, and great food options, but find somebody interesting. And I think we're all spurred on by people that have sought after their dreams and accomplished great things.
There's so much opportunity right here. By the way, what did you order at the restaurant? What was your entree? Do you remember?
I had come from New York the last night, and I had a big steak, so I know I had to go with fish, which I feel bad about. But I think I had the Gulf snapper, which was great. So
Very nice. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being on the show. We hope to have you back again sometime soon. And thank you for your vision and leadership. And I will tell you this has been the best company I've ever worked for. Thank you for this opportunity, for your leadership. And I'm sure I'm speaking for all 6,000 plus associates at Stewart Title. And if you're out there and you haven't closed at Stewart Title, check us out. Please, we're all over Houston and beyond. Thank you, Matt, for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks for what you do.
Thank you so much. We're going to come right back. Stay with us. There's even more.
Stewart Title continues to serve real estate professionals, buyers, and sellers all over Houston. The Stewart Kirby Drive office has moved to Kirby Grove at 2925 Richmond Avenue, with beautiful views to enhance your closing, and of course the A-team of professionals, Sanford Real, Lauren Reed, and Bree Knodel. Located inside the 610 Loop, you can choose valet or covered self-parking. You'll enjoy your next closing at Stewart Title Kirby Grove. If you're a buyer or seller, tell your realtor you want to close your real estate transaction at Stewart Title Kirby Grove. Call 713-528-5007. That's 713-528-5007. Or go to stewart.com for more information. Sanford, Lauren, and Bree will welcome you to Stewart Title Kirby Grove and raise the standard of your real estate transaction. Stewart Title Kirby Grove.
Welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. And now as we wind down the show, we have everybody here. Everybody. That means we still have Mr. Matt Morris, Roseann Rogers, and Bree Knodel. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having us.
Here we go. What a show. Matt, it was so great to have you on the show, and it's just tremendous, Roseann. Unbelievable.
Well, it's great. It's nice to see. I mean, I do see Matt, of course, at home office quite often, but it's nice to see you sitting next to you because usually we were just crossing paths.
We like having
the
him
elevator.
in the studio.
So I do, yeah. This is nice.
This microphone's a little bigger than what I'm used to for our associate meetings.
That's
there you
right.
go.
It
but
is.
The associates are listening, though. Another great platform, no doubt about it. And also, I mentioned Bree Knodel. Bree is the business development officer at our Kirby Grove location. Bree, let's tell everybody a little bit about Kirby Grove. It's tremendous.
Well, we have so many exciting things happening at this moment. We just moved into our new office, and we have a grand opening on February 20th.
That's coming up soon.
Yes, very soon. And our offices are absolutely gorgeous, and everyone is so excited to be there.
Kirby Grove is amazing because it is like the heart of the Upper Kirby district.
Absolutely.
So right there is Levy Park, which is another version, I would say, of the downtown experience, but more, in town. Yes. And with Levy Park, plus the great restaurants, Kieran's Restaurants there, which, by the way, she will be doing our grand opening celebration along with Michael Cordura from America's. America's is another restaurant that's been associated with the Stewart family for many, many, many years because they were in the same building for many, many years. So we're excited to have two extraordinary chefs at our grand opening. But Kirby Grove is really a totally different closing experience. And we like to say that that's what it's all about, of course, the closing experience and being consistent with our customers and making sure the communications is very clear. But, we also are resources for our realtors and lenders throughout the year, not just when it comes to the closing table.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. And when we say it's new and different, Kirby Grove, it's so exciting. We have had a presence on Kirby Drive for many years. However, this change and move to Kirby Grove is it's phenomenal.
Well, one change is valet parking, Bill.
Oh,
I mean, for those people who like valet parking and
Covered
don't want to, we have a great
and restaurants
system.
in the same building. Right?
They're in the same
right.
building. So
it is, Bill, as we were talking about earlier, I think the growth that we're talking about and kind of our drive for that customer experience, given the growth that Houston has seen, right, and the new buildings and the new opportunities we have, we want to continue to, grow and expand with that, right, and make sure we're providing great, not only convenient places for people to conduct their real estate, but also great environments and experiences. Again, buying a home should be a celebration, right? We want that to be in a place where people are excited, where people feel special and important, because this is big. It's a memorable transaction. And we want to make sure that our offices are places where buyers and sellers and real estate agents and lenders can come and to celebrate a great experience for customers in this town. So it's a great. I actually haven't been there since it's been completed, so I need to.
You've seen the
stop
process,
by.
I know, Matt. It's been a process.
Saw the process, and
Yeah.
I don't live far from there, and so it's great to see, and probably send some friends to now as well. That's probably where they'll be going.
It is.
So it's a. I know it turned out really well, and probably not your typical closing office, but I think caters to that end of the market that wants a great experience. So
it is beautiful. And of course, we do want to say a word to people, as we mentioned earlier, Matt, you were talking about people that are there. It's teamwork that does make the dream work. And people like Kim McCall, Larry Warren, when we have an office like that is spectacular, and no doubt the people are as spectacular. Sanford Real, Lauren Reed, giants in the real estate world. However, to have that come together and the people that help put it together, it doesn't happen by accident.
It absolutely does not. No, so the first time I saw it was with Larry Warren, who runs the Houston offices for us, and this was before it was complete. But we did eat at Kieran's, and I'm not sure Larry was all into the food that we ate, but I very much enjoyed the experience. So it was nice to have that next to the office, and like you said, Kim McCall did an amazing job of just thinking outside the box of what that experience for our customers look like. We have a huge team, plenty of locations in and around Houston, in every neighborhood that exists, right, to serve our customers, and regardless of where you are and what type of house you're buying or selling, we can provide a great experience for them.
And Bree, let's tell people, as we've been there now, I don't know, is it a month already that we've been open there?
Almost,
Yes,
yeah, it
almost
has
a
been.
month now.
What are some of the things people are saying after the closing transaction as they're leaving? What do they say?
Actually, Bill, people are excited to take pictures.
Oh.
In the lobby. I'm taking more pictures.
That is-
They always say, I just want to come back here just to be around this energy. It's a whole different feel from where we were before.
I bet they don't want to leave.
They don't.
They
don't.
don't.
Hang out in the
We're ha-
lobby.
and we're having
we had a
fun.
customer the other day that came in and said, "Can I just hang out in the coffee bar for just a little bit?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Okay, go ahead." So just do it.
Exactly. No
We
doubt
have some
about it.
time. Well, and I think that's a part of it. I mean, we have several different locations there. We want it's home closings closer to home. So we do have multiple locations throughout the city of Houston and the surrounding areas. And one of the at home office, we have fine properties. And how do you define that? Everything is a fine property.
Everything is
I mean,
a fine property.
take a quote from Martha Turner herself, from 20,000 to 20 million, and everything in between. Because this is like Matt. I want to iterate what he said. It is an experience. This is a life changing. It's a game changer when this happens. It's a life changing moment when you buy that house, and whether it's your first one or whether it's your 10th one, it's all good.
And these places also become, the people that we work with, especially, real estate agents that, are conducting, various transactions within a month. I mean, this does become family, right? Because we do all have to work together as an industry to provide that experience. And to a large extent, this is an industry that is mobile, right? You're dealing with real estate that's in different places. And so finding that home base is hard. And so providing a, network of offices and a friendly face, is important, I think, for all of our customers and people that bring business, into the Stewart door. I mean, these are family, these are great relationships that we have, and so having that connectivity with our customers within our offices, it does take that whole team to provide great experience to customers and allow them to have those repeat customers coming back and earn that referral, for their next client.
Building relationships. And we're talking, and of course, we don't have time to talk about all our locations, but I do want to mention the Memorial Town and Country where I office at. That's
right.
pretty nice too. Swinging
great.
palm trees, all kinds of restaurants, a great closing experience. But also, with the last couple minutes, Roseann, what else would you like people to know?
Well, I think we have exciting things starting the new year.
It's a great year already.
It's 2017 was challenging. It's a process, and we're still going through processes, and we're rebuilding, we're remodeling, we're regrouping. Right? I mean, a lot of R's there, a lot of alliteration, but we've got a lot happening, and I think 2018 is off to a wonderful start, and so we're all very, very excited.
And Matt, what final thought would you have for everybody?
I think as it relates to real estate, one thing that I always reiterate to our people is this is an important business, and I think sometimes we get caught in the process and in the rigor and in the complexity of the transaction. I tell people routinely, this is an important job. They have important roles. It's a vital part of the economy, and so knowing what you do is important. How you fit in that process and do that the best you can. It's amazing for us.
And Bree, what's the phone number over there at Kirby Grove?
713-528-7005.
And one more time.
713-528-7005.
Just Google Stewart.com. It's all there. And even though the show is ending at the time of broadcast, does it really end?
Never,
It
Bill, never.
No, because you can.
It lives on forever.
You can go to Stewart.com/Houston to hear all the shows. This marks show number 209. That is the serial number. Don't be sad that it's over. Just go to Stewart.com/Houston. Thank you so much, Matt Morris, CEO, Stewart Guarantee Company. Our symbol is STC on the New York Stock Exchange. Bree Knodel, Business Development Officer at our beautiful Kirby Grove. Take a picture right there. And Roseann Rogers, Houston Sales Manager. We're having too much fun, right, Roseann?
Yes, I'm coming back. That's right,
Unbelievable. And until next week, thank you all. Thank you, Larry Warren, Kim McCall. We'll see them soon, and we'll see you all next week. Feel free to go to Stewart.com/Houston. Again, Stewart.com/Houston. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.